Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Connected Live. I feel so invigorated at being able to be more regular with these Connected Lives. So I appreciate everybody that joins in and joins me here to talk about different topics happening. I've been focused really on the Great Awakening. And what's interesting is people seem to have, it's so funny, the Great Awakening is about expansion and evolution. And people seem to have a very narrow view on what the Great Awakening means. Yes, it is a massive fight between good and evil, and that is very true. But part of being on the side of good and being in that 5D level is being completely in alignment with that love and confidence by vibration. And I don't mean like the hippy dippy, I love you. I mean that kind of energy that just stands in confidence and that's peaceful, and that you can handle anything that comes your way, and you just feel this sense of confidence, and that is that love vibration. It's not I love everybody and Age of Aquarius, and there are a lot of people that talk that way, and those things are true, but love is, people when they hear that kind of stuff tend to think of love as being a doormat, someone being, hippy dippy, someone not knowing how to be a warrior. And I hear some of these hippy dippy people saying, well, I'm a warrior too, and they don't carry themselves or even have that presence. I think they're just kind of talking about it. So what I wanted to address today is to, again, every day I try to talk about the Great Awakening and expand. And I am so sorry by the ambient noise. Okay, so let me explain it. Lots of wind outside, so you have my chimes going. Puppy who is not wanting to be put down for a nap. He just had a huge portion of food. And as we all know, with large breed dogs, you want to keep them and have them quiet. And then I have Thor chewing on a bone. So I apologize for all the ambient noise. It's a little bit like Wild Kingdom in here, but I absolutely love that. All right, so the Great Awakening. So please, join me as many as you can. I'm kind of giving it a little bit of time. Some people were watching and then they popped off because I started talking about the dogs. But, like Marina says, Marina J., I really love her work. Rejection is protection. So if you don't stay on, you're not supposed to be here. If you stay on, you are. Or you may watch me later. So, okay, the topic for today. So the Great Awakening and expanding so that people understand it as a complete. So I just talked a little bit about that just initially. And for today's little snippet, even other species are going through the Great Awakening. And let me go a little bit into that today. So I'm going to borrow from a couple of conversations I've had with people that are clients, and as well as my own personal experience. So I'm going to start with my personal experience, and then I'll move to two client examples of it. So other species are involved in this Great Awakening. So many times I hear people saying animals or other species, because humans are animals, we're mammals, are so much more enlightened than we are. And they're all about love, and they don't have conditions, and they don't have the problems that humans have. In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. You're putting other species on a pedestal, which is kind of not fair, because as much as they are here, and they are loving beings, whether they're wild or domestic, all of them are here learning lessons within the context of their species like we are. And so to put them on this pedestal of they're perfect is inaccurate. So one of the examples I can give about the Great Awakening and other species being involved in this elevation to 5D is Balder. Like I said, I'd start with me first. Balder has spent a lifetime basically saying, I don't need your help. I'm here to help you. So therefore, every time I've taken him to the vet through the past 8 years, it's been a fight for his life. He's almost died 3 times, refusing help. The great Gloria Weintraub, such an amazing holistic DVM ahead of her time, basically said, you know, I've never met a dog like Baldor. I've never seen a dog reject help and reject 50 remedies. Muscle testing didn't work. I mean, this woman was like the best of the best. And she had never seen a dog block like Baldor. And she said to me, kid, I've seen your work with your horse and your clients. You are amazing. You're doing nothing wrong. This dog is extraordinarily high energy. And he, you know, high frequency. And he thinks he's above the lessons and above his own issues. And until he releases that, no one can help him. He had to almost die 3 times before he finally said, I need help. And so we found Dr. Nita McNeil. So yesterday, I've been watching Baldor's right back leg deteriorate. To be fair, he was always cowhocked, but he never had hip problems. This is arthritis. But I did notice through the years, that was the one leg he protected more than the others. And it was very subtle, but you know, I'm such a hawkeye when it comes to health. Like I notice everything about people. Like I'll notice a spot on your shirt. I'll notice if your skin doesn't look right. I'll notice if a dog is not moving right, if a horse is moving wrong. Like when I'm present in something, I notice everything. And that's part empathic, part visual. As I get older, I've learned not to rely on my vision so much because I'm not seeing the way I used to see. I had, 2010 vision, which is like the best of the best. And I'm down to 2015 and hanging on to it by pins and needles. So I use my intuitive senses to really feel and see what's going on. So I don't need my eyes to do that. But recently, Baldor's muscle mass in that right leg has gone down and all sorts of problems. And so animal mediumship, again, animals do communicate from the other side. Hola, tia, ¿cómo estás? My aunt from Mexico is online and I've never seen her listen to me before. Hi, tia. Thank you so much for being here. I love my aunt. She's so wonderful. I haven't been able to see her in a long time, but she's just the most amazing person. Amazing artist, amazing woman, amazing everything. Tia, I love you so much. I've had some really great examples of wonderful people in my life, and she is one of them. So going back to Baldor is really deteriorating on that back right leg. And that leg, some people, is arthritis. It's not a genetic problem with the hips or the knee. It's all arthritis. So mediumship, how that applies is Cutter John, my very first German Shepherd in our family, was told that he would never make it. And they wanted to do all these radical surgeries to him, but they basically said, put him down, his hips are so bad. Well, the great Gloria Weintraub was a pioneer in an acupuncture technique called gold bead implant surgery. And so rather than cut Baldor open at 10 years old and saw off part of his bones and redo his hip, and God knows what else they would want to do to him, crazy amounts of money that I don't have. Cutter John came to me and said to me 3 days before my appointment yesterday and said, Gabby, if you want Baldor to last, he's going to need the procedure I had, which was over 30 years ago. How many people know how to do gold bead implant surgery, by the way, is not many. And I said to Cutter when he was visiting with me, I said, I agree, but I don't even know of anybody who does it. Dr. Weintraub is retired and she's in New Jersey. I'm in Oklahoma. How's all this going to happen? I started to panic. I am the world's greatest worrier. And Cutter just smiled at me from the other side and said, of course Dr. McNeil knows how to do the surgery, or I wouldn't make the suggestion. I had absolutely no idea. She doesn't have it on the website for the animal clinic. So when Cutter said that, I felt such a sense of peace. Cutter's been dead over 30 years, by the way. And I go in and we do everything that we need to do for the other dogs. And I look at Dr. McNeil and just very matter of fact say, how do you think Baldor will handle gold bead implant surgery? She blinked like a hoot owl. How do you know I do that? And I was like, that's a story for another day, Doc, because she had a very busy schedule and I just didn't have time to explain it to her all. But she would understand because she talks to animals. So as I'm talking with her, I'm also simultaneously on another level having a discussion with Baldor to see if he will be okay under anesthesia, because this technique, and if you have a large breed dogs, it's a technique everybody should know about and absolutely demand that be available. They put the dog under anesthesia. They do the hip radiographs to see where the issues are. And then they go in with a large needle and they put gold beads in certain areas, certain points of the meridian system. Chinese medicine, you activate the meridians, the energetic pathways in the body using needles. But with gold bead implant surgery, you basically put in permanent acupuncture in those places, and the dog gets restoration of better quality of life, better mobility without the pain, better use of the leg or legs. And so he does have to be put under anesthesia because it's a very large needle to put those gold beads in the places that they need to go. So he has to go under anesthesia. And honestly, as I'm talking to Dr. McNeil, Baldur looked at me for the first time and said about a procedure, about getting help. Let's do this. I'm ready. And I was like, yay. Baldur has evolved with the Great Awakening. Baldur said, I want more mobility. I want more time. And I want to be able to chase that little minion laying next to me around. I want to have more big fun. I never realized what an incredible nanny dog that Baldur was going to be because, he did not do well with my older sister's puppy at all. Like he tried to kill Fudge. And I had to literally go diving to make sure they didn't connect. And then I had to actually, this was about 7 years ago, I had to, hi Anne, good morning. I actually had to punish Baldur because even though Fudge was not his cup of tea, it was not right that he engage in an aggression. There was an energetic disparity that Baldur didn't like, and Baldur doesn't like vocal animals, or so I thought. But yet I introduced Thor, who's more than vocal, and Baldur has no problem with all his barking and talking. And then I introduce a really small puppy, and Baldur has the patience of he is like Super Nanny for dogs. And seriously, if you've ever seen that show, Super Nanny, Baldur is Super Nanny. I wish I could get Hollywood to do a show about Baldur being Super Nanny. He is the best example of a dog being the best nanny dog ever. And so he's agreed to this procedure. He has to go under anesthesia. He's going to have to go through recovery time. And by the way, unlike the big procedures where they cut bone off or they add stuff or they do all this crazy shit, it's the most least invasive procedure that you can do. It's about 4 or 5 days where they're very uncomfortable. The body has to adjust to the gold. But once they do, holy crap, they get their mobility back and it buys them time. So Cutter John got it at either 9, he got it at 8 or 9 or something like that. And then he lived to 12 or 13, but he ended up dying of cancer, not of hip problems. And he had full mobility with the types of hips that he had, which were just like a car wreck. So, Baldur has moved from 4D and that blindness to accepting help. A true master accepts help. A true master, whether they're human or other species. True masters know how to ask for help and accept help. And so here, this dog, who I've almost lost 3 times, who didn't know if he wanted to stay here because it was getting challenging, he's all in. And just 6 months ago, I needed a surgery for his teeth and, a couple little growths that were benign, but I just wanted to get rid of them for him. Absolutely refused to go through it. Refused to the point where he fixed his own teeth because he didn't want to go under, anesthesia. And literally I have never had his teeth cleaned before. Hand to God. And his teeth were great. Up until a couple of years ago, we started to have a lot of tartar. And I just, he's been so fragile, we can't put him under anesthesia for a really good cleaning. I don't like the cleanings that are not anesthesia. I have done too much research about that, and it's just not good if you're going to need to do a teeth cleaning. I would say regularly brush your dog's teeth with a product that works for them. And by the way, don't ask me to recommend a product for teeth cleaning because different strokes for different folks, guys. There's so many toothpastes out there for dogs, and it just depends on what your dog's needs are. And so if you want to do a session around a lot of different things, I can help with that. But I won't give a general recommendation. But Balder wouldn't even accept any product to have his teeth brushed or even let me brush his teeth. No aggression, just, resistance. And within coming back to Dr. McNeil for a checkup, she just looked at me and went, have you been brushing his teeth? And I said, no. She goes, I'll be damned. He fixed his own damn teeth. All the tartar was gone. I hadn't been giving bones or anything else. He's a master. But he elevated. The Great Awakening is upon us, and animals, like people, are either shifting into 5D and really evolving, or they're not. And our job as humans is not to drag them kicking and screaming into the light, like it is with people. We can't drag people into the light kicking and screaming. We just can't. We have to allow people and other species to have their journey. We can support them by being a great example of how to do it. But we're no longer being allowed as light workers to drag people kicking and screaming. We literally are on our knees exhausted. All of us are. Like, there's not one holistic healer that I know that isn't freaking exhausted. And part of it has to do is we have to slap our own hands and go, no more dragging people into the light. You either evolve or you don't. And the only way as light workers that we're really being allowed to do the work in good faith and in the correct way where we're healthy is to be the best example of what that looks like. I know it's a tough one, which includes my message from yesterday. You have to be devoid of attachment. And that is an Eastern philosophy in Buddhism, but it runs across the board. You have to let people have their journey. You have to have healthy rules, boundaries, and limitations. So when people get on my page and argue, bye-bye. I'm not for you, you're not for me, and that's okay. No anger, just I don't want the negativity. I just want things in the positive. So that's one example of one animal. Second one is a dear friend. She has the only Tibetan Mastiff rescue in the United States, and she is a Reiki master and understands behavior and training and has rescued so many of this breed. And this is a very tough breed. They got popular for a while because they got registered with the American Kennel Association, and which was kind of a disaster for the breed because it's just such a difficult breed. It is not for people that don't understand dogs and are truly committed to an evolved relationship. Rebecca is just, if you look up Tibetan Mastiffs, she's out of Los Angeles in California. That's a real 501c3. So if you want to donate to a real one like Rescue Me Incorporated that I sit on the board for, I totally support Rebecca. But she came to me with a dog who had no quality of life. Just the dog was so shut down and had just decided they wanted nothing to do with humanity. And she really was struggling, like, I can't place a dog like this, and I guess he has to be in my care for the rest of his life because he's just so unhappy. He just has, but she said, I'm heartbroken for him because he has no quality of life. Like, I give him food. He has an area where he can be that's safe for him, but he's isolated. And she just really was, like, in her heart struggling. And so she said, what do you think about doing a session with him? And I just, every single time, I'm going to get misty-eyed, seriously honored that someone of her caliber collaborates with me to help animals. I'm really grateful for that. She makes me she really makes me feel good about everything that I'm doing, and I love collaborating with her to help animals, especially a very complex animal such as a Tibetan Mastiff that's abused on top of it all. So we do the session, and I give context for my work. I said, I just don't know if he can do it. I can do the session, but he has to make the choice to do it. We can't make it for him. And this is like Again, the theme over and over and over again. The animals are like us. They have to choose the fifth dimension in the Great Awakening. They must. We cannot choose it for them. I don't care if they're domesticated or not. And either they're going to come up to 5D or they're not. And so we're seeing a lot of people dying. We're seeing a lot of animals dying. They're dying because they can't do it. They can't make the jump. And some people and some animals just needs the support, which is why the light workers that are in integrity are the people to find and work with. It's worth the investment. People worry about money, and I tell them all the time, I said, if you just pay the fee, which is a reasonable fee for the level of expertise many of us have, you will see the abundance come to you. It will work out, and it always does. Like people that listen to me and make that jump, it always works out, and they're always like, thank God we worked with you. Because not only do we not have the money problems, but like more money is coming in. Duh. You change your vibration to abundance in an authentic level to match 5D, and the money comes. This is not about not having material possessions. This is about having it within reason and having it from the right place. So I worked on him, and I was even skeptical. I was like, I don't know if he can do it. He's really like, he's listening to me, but he's kind of not. And I said, so coaching him is not the way to go. Talking with him is not going to work. It's going to be the energy that does it or not. He's got to make the choice. And so we did the session, and he's like been ticking upwards. Like, you know, I've been sent a few text messages saying, Gabby, he actually wagged his tail when I fed him. You know, like little things that show you he's willing to make an effort and communicate and have a connection with another human being. And even Rebecca said, you know, I've never had an animal not connect with me. And I was like, yeah, it's spooky when it happens. It's like, whoa, what kind of lesson is this animal having? And she experienced that for the first time. And so to have him start to connect with her and her to feel it and see it, it's not set in stone yet. I don't know if he's going to go all the way. A lot of times with these situations where an animal has to make a decision like a human, they kind of take, you know, a few steps forward, a couple steps back, 5 steps forward, maybe 4 steps back. And then they may make 10 steps forward and then all of a sudden say, nope, I'm out. You know, free will is everything on this one. So, but right now, like he just seems to be on an uptick, like every day, just a little more connection, a little more evolution, a little at a time, baby steps. And it's thrilling to be a part of that. Then I had another client call me, number 3. And this has to do with a cat. And they said to me, you know, do I need the session? Does my other animals need the session? You know, I only have enough for one right now. And I went, you only have enough for one right now because that's all you need. And so they were like, oh, you have that tone of voice, Gabby. Yeah. I said, you need the session. You are actually doing the work to go into 5D. You're in and out of 5D, but you're doing the work to be there. So it's about getting used to being in that water, if you will. And you're getting kind of calibrated to be in 5D, and you're making the jump. Whether your animals make the jump is another thing, because they're part of old energy, and that doesn't make them right, wrong, or bad or anything. It just means where they're at. So this one particular cat has always struggled, but now the struggle has become even greater. And so the person said, well, how do I know if to help them step out? When their quality of life is less than that of good. So if they are more in bad quality of life versus good, what's the point? They're having no joy, no fun, no real connection, and they're in pain. You put all the things together, and I kind of talked through what would the conditions could look like for an individual wanting to step out. And the person was like, you've answered my question. I said, yes. I said, the only thing you can do with your animals is take the session for yourself, because you're actively doing the work. And what you can do for your animals is be the very best example of that evolution, kind of like the way we do it for people. So healers are doing it on one level to help people evolve and go up to 5D. The average person doing the work to be in 5D, that's not a healer, but say, is, in hotels or restaurants, or doesn't matter what your profession is. Everybody's profession is important, by the way. I don't care if you're cleaning rooms, which, hey, I used to do as when I was younger. I used to chambermaid. And I used to take great pride in that work, actually, because I made the rooms that I cleaned really nice for somebody traveling. So I was like 12 or 13, and I just thought, someone's going to come in from a long day of driving, and how nice this room looks and feels will make their whole night so much better, and whether they rest or not. And the smiles on their faces when they left just confirmed that. So I don't care what you do for a living. Everybody's important. Everybody has an important role. And so all we can do is be the best example of someone going into 5D by living it. Just be that. Don't try to convince anybody. Don't try to force spirituality down anybody's throat. It never works. People are ready to hear it when they're ready to hear it, or they're ready to do it when they've seen it modeled and they go, I feel that inner purpose calling me to be my best. So to everybody out there, whether you're a healer or not, just be your best. Be an example of what that looks like. And part of that is not having attachment and letting people have their lessons, letting animals have their lessons. So my friend said, also my client, so I just don't take care of them? Oh, no. That's not what I'm saying. What you do is give them everything that they need, be loving and understanding and compassionate. But when it comes to paying for a session to do the work, why would you pay for a session for somebody who's not interested in doing the session? And Marina made a great point to me. Marina J. Follow her too. She's awesome. She has a great podcast, and she's like on several different things doing messages. Follow her on Facebook and everywhere you can find her. She's just a very cool lady. You've got to let them have their lesson and just be your best, and lose that attachment to trying to force. And people, just be loving. I'm having trouble articulating it clearly. Just be loving, understanding, and compassionate with healthy rules, boundaries, and limitations. And you can't let old paradigms get in your way. If an individual is suffering and is disconnected and doesn't want help, won't allow help, then let them have that journey and let them go when it's time to let them go. Like Baldur is one of those cases that could have gone either way. He could have decided, I'm going to do this again and I don't want help, and that leg could continue to deteriorate to the point where, a 90 some odd pound dog can't function on 3 legs at his age. And then you have to help him pass, and you have to find the grace and the love to allow that to happen. But I presented him with the opportunity to get this gold bead implant procedure, and he freaking jumped at it, and he made my day. I'm very grateful, but I didn't force it down his throat. I gave him an option, and I've been working really hard to stay in 5D and model that for my clients. I can't be a holistic healer and not walk the talk. So my animals have to be in alignment. My life has to be in alignment. My practice has to be in alignment. My health has to be in alignment. Everything has to be in alignment. You have to be a positive example for people that are new watching this. I'm 51 come March 17th. And I can't believe I'm 51. I'm the youngest in my family, so I'm considered the baby. So I'm like, holy crap. A half a century went by. Where did it go? But I don't do Botox, and I don't do any, I can't afford facials. I just honestly, I take good care of myself, but luxuries like facials and massages and like all these things that Hollywood celebrities do, not possible. Not in my realm of work. I'm not like one of the elite or wealth. What I do is I find a way to focus on the inside, and that reflects on the outside. So if you're in alignment with nutrition, energy, and emotional health, it'll reflect out here. So despite my life having been very difficult, despite the health challenges that I've had and that I do have, 51 with a normal life, but focused on good nutrition and eating appropriately. And as a lot of people know, I became insulin resistant. I can't have any sugar. Shit. That's my addiction. So yeah, you've got to just walk the talk. And if you need help, I walk the talk as much as humanly possible. If you need help, go to my website, connectedenergyhealing.com. Make an appointment. It's about an hour and a half session. And if I go a little bit longer, just depends on how I'm booked. I don't charge extra. The fee is what the fee is. I don't sell products. But I will say this. I always tell my clients to say yes. I am open to, if a company is doing the right thing and they're in alignment, I am open to representing certain companies now, as long as they don't give me a non-compete. So I need the freedom to recommend the best products, but I'm willing to work, with a company on their products. Like, I recommend products all the way, and I don't accept compensation, because if I accept compensation, then you don't know if I'm, recommending something because I'm paid to do it or because it's actually what'll work for you. So if companies want me to represent them now, I'm saying yes to that, as long as they don't force me to do it. You can't put me into a contract that says I can only recommend X cosmetic. I'm going to recommend the best and what matches my clients. It just happens that I happen to use the cosmetic, so I happen to use Thrive because I like what they do and I like their mission and purpose, and I love how they help people in trouble, and I love how much they donate, and I love that they've remained independent. No animal testing, completely clean. Their vibration is on point. As long as they stay on point, I will use them. But I have a little bit of, you can tell I have a little bit of lipstick. But really very, this has got to go on in 10 minutes. I don't have all day. And as most people see with my hair being a mess all the time, I'm in the wind. I don't have time to get fixed up or primped up. I'm still wearing my outside clothes. You know why? Because the puppy, I never know at 12 weeks when he's going to need to pee, and it's a bit cold outside. So I have just given up, lowered the temperature of the house, because the German Shepherds have, the Germans, as my friend Rudy, who's a really wonderful vet down south, the Germans all have this crazy thick coat, so they're hot anyway. So I just bring the temperature down of the house, leave my outside clothing on, and I'm able to go outside without dying, in a t-shirt or something. So sorry for a little bit of a ADD moment, but just wanted to share there. You guys, so that is my Connected Live for today. Please share it with other people. Please. I'm going to do another one tomorrow. I've already got a topic lined up. I'm really excited about doing more of these to help more people. You won't be able to share from Facebook, but I'll put the YouTube channel on so that you can share. And I'm just trying to expand, not just for business sake, but it's just time to reach more people. And I have really kind of made myself not as big as I could be because I was just so aware of the hostile climate that has followed me throughout my life. I've succeeded with having a platinum reputation. I have succeeded not being censored or having my channels taken down or my pages taken down. But I am seeing that Facebook is making sure that Connected Live and Connected Energy Healing, the public pages, are not seen. But I was trying to stay under the radar because I was just trying to be able to reach more people that way. But that is not what I'm being told to do right now. I'm literally being cosmically kicked in the backside to do more of these and reach more of an audience. So if you wouldn't mind, share me with your email lists, share me with people that you think can hear me or need to hear me. And I really appreciate that, because the Great Awakening, the more people that wake up, the more we start this renaissance where we are all making money in our respective jobs, our respective careers. More importantly, the difference between a job and a career. I'll go over that again at some point. But in our respective careers, which means mission and purpose, happens. It's not that you don't make money. It's how you make the money, the foundation of the money. And everything that I've been talking about for the past several weeks is about going into 5D so that you can be in abundance and thrive. That's my whole thing, thriving. Conditions matter not. The companies, the politicians, they matter nothing. The terrain, as with disease, the terrain is everything, like it is with disease of the mind or the energy of the body. Career, terrain is everything. You can succeed and be in abundance and thrive no matter what the conditions. You just have to know how to get there. And if you need help doing it, connectedenergyhealing.com to make your appointment. It'll be worth the money. And I will talk to you all soon, hopefully tomorrow. Okay, you guys, have a great day. Remember, your pets aren't just pets. They can be your greatest teachers, and they also need help going into 5D with the Great Awakening. So let them have their journey. If they can't do it, support them. But if they're going into 5D, support them with everything you've got and be the best human they could possibly ever need or want. And if you need help doing that, find me and make an appointment. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.